Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at my website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is Magic Moments. And that is because on Monday, just 2 days ago, we had a fabulous new moon at 25 degrees of Cancer. And it was in a very good position to promote small pleasures in your life in the next week that could result in magic moments. And I'll explain how. And that's because there are little things that can add up after a while and make a magic moment for you. The first is that there are 4 planets in the healing water signs under the new moon that we just had in Cancer. So the sun and the new moon were both at 25 degrees in Cancer. And this is what you might call a very potent new moon, because actually the moon is the ruler of Cancer, so it is the stronger of the 2 lights because it's at home in the sign it rules. And the sun is conjuncting it. That's wonderful. And then those 2 planets in Cancer are trining 2 more planets in Pisces. And they are Saturn in Pisces and also Neptune in Pisces. Well, what we have right now, and why these planets are in such good position among the water signs, is that we have the ruler of one sign, the moon in Cancer, trining the ruler of the other sign, Neptune in Pisces. And since Neptune and Saturn are both retrograde, and Neptune rules dreams, and Pisces rules things behind the scenes, there is the possibility that some of your magic moments this week could have something to do with a cherished dream of yours. Because that's very positive to have these very strong planets trining each other, and all 4 of them are also trining the sign of Scorpio. But it even gets better than that, because there are another 4 planets in a grand trine in the earth signs. And there was last week too. Actually, there were 5 planets last week. Well, now there's 4. Jupiter and Uranus are both in Taurus, a fixed financial sign, and they are trining Mars in Virgo and also Pluto in Capricorn. Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio, and they're in good aspect to each other, which is a positive thing. And then they're supporting the Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. Now, that means that people who want to be very practical and realistic and good problem solvers and are thinking about their careers and sort of, wanting to get on in the world are well favored right now. And so some of your magic moments could come from the strength that is being shown in this grand trine of earth signs. But the fact that there's a trine in water signs and a grand trine in earth signs means there's 8 planets that are getting along really well. And water and earth are very compatible, because water needs to be needed, because water signs are nurturing and healing. And earth signs need water because they need water in order to grow things and make them multiply and so on. And so those 8 planets are very well positioned to give you small pleasures in the next week that could result in magic moments for you. But we can look at even smaller things that are significant. And one of them is that today, right now, the nodes of the moon have just changed signs. They only do that once every 18 months because the north node and the south node of the moon are mathematical calculations set up by the ancients years ago, and they always oppose each other exactly. And so the north node of the moon in your chart or anybody's chart signifies a lucky friend, somebody who will always be there for you. Or it could be somebody new in your life. but they're always there for you. So you should look at where the North Node is in your chart, because that's where you're always going to find somebody, even if you're in trouble, that will always help you out. The South Node of the Moon is just the opposite, because these nodes oppose each other and they move backwards. And so the South Node of the Moon is an unlucky friend. It is somebody who is quite a nag, who's always cranky, who no matter where you go or what you do, if they're in the vicinity, they want to make your life miserable. And they'll keep trying. So it's fortunate that we all have the North Node, which is a lucky friend, but it's a little sad that we have to live through this influence of the South Node as well. And today, the North Node just moved out of Taurus, where it has been for the last year and a half. And since these mathematical identities are traveling backwards, it means that the lucky North Node of the Moon just entered Aries today, and it's at 29 degrees of Aries. And likewise, the South Node of the Moon has finally just moved out of Scorpio. And the whole time that it was in Scorpio, Scorpios had to deal with somebody who was very cranky and bossy and just wanted to make their lives miserable. And so, lucky them, that's over, finally. And the South Node of the Moon has now moved into the 29th degree of Libra. So it is significant when the nodes change. And since it takes a year and a half to go through a sign, and remember they're moving backward, it means that since there are 12 signs, it's going to take 18 years to get around a chart once. And so 18 years from now, that since our lucky North Node was in Taurus, it will be back in Taurus in 18 years, and some lucky friend that, for instance, a Taurus has met in the last year and a half will probably still be their friend 18 years from now, and will do them credit. And won't that be nice? It might take 18 years before you see the benefit of that, because I'm talking about magic moments that can appear in our lives in the next week, but they derive from small pleasures and small things that happen, but which can be very pleasing. And then we need to take a look at that new moon that we just had in Cancer. We need to look at that a little bit more closely, because the sun and the new moon were at 25 degrees of Cancer. And 25 is a number that reduces to 7. And we reduce numbers by adding digits. So 2 plus 5 equals 7. 7 is the number of Pisces. And the sun and the new moon were trining the sign of Pisces. And they were reduced to exactly the number that Pisces rules. And because the sun and the moon were at 25 degrees of Cancer, they were almost exactly trine the other ruler of Pisces, Neptune, at 28 degrees. So this was an almost exact trine to that Neptune in Pisces. And the sun and the new moon, and remember the moon rules Cancer and Neptune rules Pisces, and these rulers are almost in exact trine to each other, getting along real well. And so I really do think that since Neptune rules dreams, and it's in the sign of Pisces, which rules things that are hidden behind the scenes, that a cherished dream of yours, perhaps that you've had for a long time, because Saturn is in Pisces as well, and Saturn is the planet of time, and it's being trined by the sun and new moon. I would say that a cherished dream that you've had for a very long time is destined to come true. And this would be despite all the delays and all the doubts that you may have had about it. It seems that this new moon is saying the dream is destined to come true. Now, is it supposed to come true today? Well, remember, I'm talking about magic moments that are derived from small pleasures. So I think if you have enough small pleasures and enough magic moments, it does add up after a while. But it may not all add up today, but it's going in that direction. And so if you have had a cherished, quiet dream that not too many people know about, and no matter what the delays or the doubts are, it looks to me that this new moon is saying it's destined to come true. And, you know, I wish I could tell you which day, but it is destined to come true. So have faith, is what I'm saying. However, there are still things that you really need to be cautious about. And that is because there's something else that's happening today that we all need to keep our guard up about. And it is that Mars is in Virgo, and it's at 6 degrees of Virgo. It's part of the grand trine in Earth signs, but Mars in Virgo isn't too well placed because Mars rules war and aggression and fighting and maladies, things that can go wrong. And it's in the sign of health, Virgo, which rules not only our central nervous system and good problem solving, but it does rule the whole healthcare field. And that Mars at 6 degrees of Virgo today is exactly opposed by Saturn, which is retrograde in Pisces, and it is now at 6 degrees of Pisces. And Pisces rules things that are hidden behind the scenes. So I think what this means is, one, we've all got to be real careful with our health, particularly right now. And don't kid yourself about anything, because you could regret that in the future. And I think what that means is that if you have been doing anything behind the scenes that you've either been kidding yourself about, thinking that it was inconsequential when it's not, or that has been something that has to do with the things that Pisces rules, because Saturn is there, and Pisces can also rule escape through alcoholism, drug addiction, or sexual promiscuity. And so if you have been doing anything behind the scenes that you should not have been doing and kidding yourself that it doesn't matter, Mars and Saturn exactly opposing each other indicates that it really does matter. And that what could be happening is that if you indulge in things that you shouldn't be indulging in, that could be harmful to you, this is looking like it will be harmful to you. And what would be the worst harm? The worst harm would be that your indulgence in anything could negate the precious dream that is destined to come true, right when it's about to land on your doorstep. Because this new moon is so well aspected to the sign of Pisces that if you had some secrets behind the scenes, they will come out. And wouldn't it be a shame if it was something you were trying to hide, and when it comes out, instead, it means that a cherished dream doesn't make it. Simply through what you've been doing behind the scenes that you shouldn't have been doing. And so right when it's about to land on your doorstep, because it's destined to succeed, the only person that could possibly stop it would be you. And so that's why you need to be real careful what you've been doing. And if you have been indulging in anything that you're kidding yourself about, you need to stop and think about how important it is to be on your best behavior for the rest of your life. And the reason why is the dream is worth it. Your precious dream is worth doing your best and being at your best. And since it looks like it's destined to come true, you're going to have to live up to your dream. You can't have it both ways. And that's because it's such a precious one. So this new moon means do your best. Because that's the way the precious dream is destined to succeed. So good luck. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. Well, Aries, remember I told you that the lucky north node of the moon is now at 29 degrees in your sign. So, Aries, what could that mean for you? Well, for one thing, it trines Venus and Mercury in Leo, and so that's good. I mean, maybe you're going to be enjoying some summer fun, which would be great. Or maybe you're going to start something new, and it really could get off to a pretty good start. So that would be nice. But what it also means, Aries, is that sometime in the next year and a half, while that north node is going backward through your sign, you are aspected to meet a very lucky friend. And when would you be meeting this person? Probably when you need them the most. That's when you'll meet them. And that's because the lucky north node of the moon represents somebody who's there even when everything else goes wrong. They'll be there to help you. They're a friend. And they'll do what they can. And they could be a perfect stranger. But you're going to be pretty lucky in the next year and a half, Aries. Just when you're sort of overwhelmed by things and you can't figure everything out, somebody is going to come along and help you. And so congratulations. It'll be 18 years before that north node gets back to your sign. So really, really try not to be afraid to reach out, because even if you don't have all the answers, Aries, someone else is going to come along and help you anyway. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Taurus. This is a time, Taurus. Remember, with the grand trine in the earth signs, it certainly means that you could be enjoying some small pleasures that could result in magic moments. Everybody can, actually. I mean, you can look forward to that. Everyone can, particularly this next week, this week, even today. But Taurus, since Mars and Pluto are both trining your sun, where you have Jupiter and you have Uranus, and Uranus is a malefic planet representing volatility and sudden surprising change, you might have a surprising change sort of to the upside. And that could be because Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio. They're in good aspect to your sun and to each other. And so there could be some extra money coming your way, Taurus, which would be nice. Now you might need it because sometime in the last year and a half, there would have been somebody pretty nice that came into your life. And maybe it was just a one-time meeting, or maybe it's somebody who's going to be around for a long time. And in 18 years, you could be looking back and saying, oh, I'm so glad I met that person. Or there's somebody that I'll always treasure. And that would be true. So sometime in the last year and a half, a very lucky person came your way, Taurus. I hope you appreciated that. And then maybe you could, even if they were a perfect stranger, they would have done something wonderful for you. And I think that would have enriched your life. And it would have been more than just a magic moment. It would be something that could help a precious dream come true. Remember, that's what this new moon, which is in Cancer, and Cancer always sextiles your sun. So the sun and new moon were sextiling your sun where you have Jupiter and Uranus on Monday under the new moon. And the two planets in Pisces also sextile your sun. So Taurus, it looks like a cherished dream is destined to come true. And it's going to be despite doubts and despite delays. And so I'm not so certain it's going to come true today. Oh, but it could. But I think it might even have already started to come true while the North Node was going in the last year and a half when it was going through your sign. Like something good that happened to you in the last year and a half, it's going to be with you longer than you think, Taurus. And it's going to make you proud. It'll do you a lot of good. So remember, for all of us, because Mars and Saturn are exactly opposite each other today, which is a dangerous signal for people who have been kidding themselves about anything that if they're doing anything to hurt their health, they're really going to be sorry that they were kidding themselves. But still, I think that you're going to be pretty happy with someone that you met in the last year and a half, Taurus, that will be a lucky friend of yours, perhaps for the rest of your life. So congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Gemini. Well, Gemini, once again, there aren't any planets in the air signs because there are 4 in the water signs and there's another 4 in the earth signs and 2 in the fire signs. Well, there's only 10 up there, so nothing in air signs this week, Gemini. This may not bother you, though, and that's because the sun and the new moon in Cancer on Monday were right ahead of your sun sign. And that's a lot of light right ahead of your sun sign. And so you might be thinking about a move, Gemini, or making some sort of change. It could even be in your career or how you communicate with people, because you're a born communicator. That's what your sign rules. And you may be thinking about even switching careers, going into counseling. Your sign rules any form of communication. So it can rule teaching or counseling, or writing, or advertising, or marketing, or sales. It rules buying and selling. So you might be thinking about buying and selling some property, or moving, because those are the things that Cancer rules, and there was a lot of good light right ahead of your sun sign on Monday. And so, Gemini, you may be thinking of sort of branching out. You may not be doing it at the moment, but you might be thinking seriously about it and even planning for it and maybe just preparing for it. And I think that that's a good use of your time. So if you have any downtime now that you want to fill up by doing something, I would say you should get ready for some sort of a move. Even if you're not going to do it today, it could be in your future. And that could be a physical move from one home to another, or it could be a career move from one thing you'd been doing for a while, and maybe even going back to something you'd done before that you'd always enjoyed. Maybe just picking that up again. The Geminis are very flexible and very versatile and adaptable. So you could be looking at a lot of possibilities right now, Gemini. And you could also be enjoying some small pleasures that can lead to magic moments. Because that's well aspected for all of us. So be grateful for the little things, Gemini, and you'll know when that happens, because there will be something that brings a smile to your face, and that would give you a small moment of pleasure and maybe a magic moment that you would really enjoy. And we all have to live in the present, and so it's sort of nice. It's like when I hear from my viewers, you know, I may not know all of them personally because I'm not too sure where they all live, but they're so nice. I've been lucky all 29 years that I've been doing this to have really wonderful viewers. And that can give you those 29 years of small pleasures or magic moments. And the same thing can happen to you, Gemini, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Cancer, lucky you. There was a fabulous new moon in your sign 2 days ago on Monday. And when you look at it a little bit more closely, what's the bottom line? The bottom line is it's more than just small pleasures that can bring magic moments. That can happen for all of us. But it also, the bottom line is that because the sun and the new moon, and remember the moon rules your sign, so it's at home in the sign it rules, were in almost exact trine to Neptune in Pisces, which Neptune rules, and it rules dreams, and Saturn was there as well. It simply means that perhaps an old private dream of yours, Cancer, that you've had for a long time is destined for success. And 7 is the number of mystery. 25 degrees, you reduce that to 7. 7 is the number of Pisces, meaning that your dream could have been, despite doubts and despite innumerable delays, it's destined to succeed, Cancer. And so it might be you that's making a move. Your sign rules moving, or sharing a home, sharing your home or someone else's home, and or really sort of coming home. And you'll be coming home to a dream that I think very few people knew you had. But because you've been true to the dream is about to be true to you, because it's destined for success. And so congratulations, Cancer. This new moon is pretty important for you. It will enlighten you. It will make you feel as if you are home at last. Wherever you go, or whoever the dream involves, when it finally does succeed, you will be home at last. And you'll know it. You'll know it. You'll know that immediately. So that's a magic moment. But it's a magic moment that'll last the rest of your life. So, Cancer, they say that Cancer is a little timid or a little shy, and that's true. Cancers are shy, but Cancers are very sensitive, and they can sort of look inside a person's heart and see a good one. They know a good one when they see one. They may not all be good ones that they see, but the good ones they know. And so, Cancer, congratulations, because whatever your dream is, it is destined for success. Now, that may not be today or tomorrow, because there still could be doubts and delays. But you have weathered so many of those that all you have to do, Cancer, is keep going, because you'll make it. You'll make it home at last. Congratulations. What does it mean to a Leo? Leo. Well, Leo, there are still planets in fixed signs that mean that there's sort of no love lost somewhere. And that is because Venus in your sign, along with Mercury, Venus is at the end of your sign, Mercury is a little closer to the start of your sign, which means that you can be stimulated by new ideas that are just coming right at you, Leo, and or new opportunities, and that would be fine with you. So I think that the communication can be sort of flowing for you right now, which is great. But both Mercury and Venus in your sign are squaring Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus. And what's unfortunate about that is that Venus rules Taurus. And it has been, all the time it's been in your sign, which is nice for you, it has been squaring Taurus. And Taurus is part of a wonderful grand trine in the earth signs right now, which emphasizes careers and retirement plans and investments and health. And those are all things that you're really going to have to pay a lot more attention to, and it may not be as easy for you to do that as it is for others, because there aren't any other planets in fire signs. There's nothing trining your sun. And so I think that you might be frustrated because you might be in either a business negotiation or maybe applying for a new job or something like that, or starting your own business, and you would not get the money that you'd hoped for because Venus is squaring Jupiter. Or it can be that the investments you have been losing value in one way or another. But you could sell some of them anyway. I mean, if you needed cash, I think you'd be able to put your hands on some, Leo. And so this is just a time when, as you are looking toward your future, you'd have to take into the account the fact that Mars is right ahead of your sun sign in Virgo. And today, one of the worst oppositions we will ever see is happening today, because Mars in Virgo, which rules our health, it also rules accounting, and it rules facts and details, and it rules the whole healthcare field. But that Mars in Virgo is exactly, at 6 degrees, is exactly opposing Saturn in Pisces, also at 6 degrees, and Saturn is retrograde. But it is in a sign that rules dreams. And I think that there's some sort of dream, Leo, that you'd have to be, if you've been kidding yourself about anything, if you've been indulging in anything, or if you've been hiding anything. Those are all things that Pisces rules. Since Mars is right ahead of your sun sign and it's suffering from this opposition, it simply means that perhaps due to things that you had done, maybe not right now, but say in the past, if those habits of yours in one way or another have been overlooked, or you thought they were not ever going to have any consequence, they could have a consequence right now, Leo. And for sure, you need to watch your health a lot more closely. And remember that the only way to keep a cherished dream alive is to make sure that you're not indulging in anything that could harm the dream in any way. So you really have to live up to your best right now, Leo, and do your best, because the dream is worth it. And so you can't have it both ways. So you might be starting over in one way or another. And if you're turning over a new leaf, that's probably a good idea. You wouldn't have anything to lose and maybe a lot to gain. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Virgo. Well, Mars in your sign is part of a grand trine in the earth signs, and nothing beats a grand trine. And so that Mars in your sign at times can make you irritable or cranky or bossy or demanding, and it can make you a little too nervous because your sign rules the whole central nervous system. And so you have to watch out for that, Virgo. Well, that is not the way to make friends and influence people. I mean, charm works wonders, but getting mad at people doesn't. Or judgmental. This is not the time to do that either. Because you have an awful lot to gain by really paying attention to things you do well. And so you don't need to look at what everybody else is doing wrong. Just concentrate on what you do well. And I think you'll be successful. Because that Mars in your sign is trining Pluto in Capricorn. And Pluto's retrograde. And so that simply means that you may be looking over your retirement accounts or career options, and maybe you're thinking of changing something or going back to something that will allow you a little bit more relaxation. Or you know, we don't all have to have the high pressure jobs. It might be easier just to have a job that is a little bit more low-key, maybe less responsible, but a lot less troublesome too. And so you could sort of think of maybe how to move your money around, because your sign rules accounting and banking, and maybe your money could work a little harder for you so that you wouldn't have to. And why don't you sort of investigate that, Virgo, because you do need to take care of your health. And that means if you've been facing a lot of pressure, you need to cut that out. That's not good for you. Virgos naturally worry about everything, even when there isn't any pressure. But if there is pressure in your life, you could almost feel like you're at the end of your rope. And with Saturn opposing Mars, you are tempting fate if you have any bad health habits. This is the time to really concentrate primarily on your health and trying to improve it if you can. And get real serious about it, Virgo. Because, you know, we all need to survive. And if you kid yourself about something, it'll get worse, not better. So you have to address it and get rid of it. I hope you do that. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, unfortunately, excuse me, the unlucky south node of the moon has just left Scorpio. And today it's at the 29th degree in your sign, Libra, where it will continue through your sign, moving backwards for the next year and a half or 18 months. And there aren't any planets in air signs right now. The only thing in an air sign is the unlucky south node of the moon. So Libra, your sign rules charm. And people are always glad to see a Libra because they have a wonderful smile. And they just walk into the room and, you know, they attract people. People just want to come to them. And so remember what your assets are, Libra. Because this is a time when you might want to surround yourself with people who are very likable, not cranky, or not out to get you, or not wanting to bother you all the time. That's what that south node represents, people like that. And you need to find a way to get around them, Libra. You know, just avoid those people when you see them, so that they can't bother you. And maybe turn your back on them. Or maybe just say, oh, I've got another appointment. I'm too busy right now. You know, see you later. And just try to avoid people that you feel are not your type. And realize that for the next year and a half, they're going to be around. And you're going to have to find little ways, you might call them preventive measures, little ways where you can either not come in contact with them very often, or else just try to get around them. So you sort of have to keep your guard up a little bit for the next year and a half while the south node is going through your sign. It's important for people to know where the south node and the north node nodes of the moon are in their natal chart. And that's because, for instance, if your south node, Libra, was in your 6th house of work, that means no matter what job you had in your life, there was always one person that was sort of out to get you, or very cranky, or always critical of you. Because that's, wherever the south node hits in somebody's chart, that's the kind of person they're going to come across. But conversely, wherever the north node is in your chart, that is going to be a lucky friend. And if your south node was in the 6th house, then your north node would be in your 12th house, because they're in exact opposition. And so the 12th house rules things behind the scenes, and all areas of confinement and problems. But if you had your lucky north node of the moon there, you would have a miraculous way of getting out of things, and of being helped by very nice people, even strangers that you've never known. So that's why it's important for people to know where the nodes of the moon are. And the north node of the moon is exactly opposite the south node of the moon, now in your sign, Libra. And the lucky north node of the moon represents lucky friends. And it's in the sign of Aries. New beginnings. And so, Libra, no matter what excuse you give yourself for not making a new beginning, it's your way out of trouble if you do make a new beginning. It's your way of finding lucky friends. It's your way of starting over or starting something new and really getting away from things where you can't solve other people's problems, but why should you be weighed down with them either? You know, just try something new instead, Libra, and it'll be better, perhaps, than where you are now. So, good luck. And since there aren't any planets in air signs, I think that you could profit from quietly thinking about ways to make yourself happy. Because remember, the show is called Magic Moments, which are derived from small pleasures. Well, Libras like small pleasures. So why don't you indulge in a few more of those? Good ones, not anything that's going to hurt you. And just try to quietly enjoy yourself right now, Libra. Libras are sort of people pleasers. And so in order to be happy, you'd have to be around people. And so just try to do things that you love or things that you're interested in right now, because I think that'll make you happy. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time, Scorpio, when for one thing, your rulers are in very good aspect to each other. And so remember that, because that makes you a little stronger than people think you are. And so Mars is in Virgo, and it is trining Pluto in Capricorn. And Capricorn rules your career and your public reputation and your retirement. And Virgo rules your health and your banking and facts and details and good problem solving. And so since your rulers are in these signs and they are trining each other, that can bring out some sort of hidden talents of yours, Scorpio, that could work out pretty well. So the idea is if you have some problems, you are at a perfect time to solve them right now. And they can be financial problems, because yours is a financial sign, or they can be things that deal with your career or your retirement or your investments, because there's a grand trine in the earth signs and your rulers are in earth signs right now. However, you're going to feel the sort of the beauty of magic moments right now. Remember, the magic moments are coming from small pleasures, but there's maybe quite a few of them that can add up right now, Scorpio, because the sun, the powerful sun and new moon in Cancer on Monday were trining your sun. And Neptune in Pisces and Saturn in Pisces are also trining your sun. And your rulers are trining each other. You know, Scorpio, no matter how onerous the tasks were in the last year and a half, or problems were that you had to face, and no matter how many cranky people or bossy, demanding people were always trying to make your life miserable, you survived it. And that's because the south node of the moon for the last year and a half has been going through your sign, but today it left and now it's in Libra. And that means that some of the pressures that you have been facing in the last year and a half from people that you really don't like or who have made your life miserable in one way or another in the last year and a half, those are going to disappear. Either the people are going to disappear or the problems are going to disappear. So this is a magical new moon for you, Scorpio. It is for all the water signs. And that's because the ruler of Cancer, the moon, was there, trining the ruler of Pisces, which is Neptune. And the sun and new moon were at 25 degrees, reducing to 7, and Neptune is at 28 degrees, almost an exact trine. And they're all trining your sun. And so what that means is that Scorpio, despite delays, despite that unlucky south node that's been in your sign for the last year and a half, and despite doubts of your own, a cherished dream that you've had for a long time is destined for success. And Scorpio, you might be a little closer to making that come true than you realize. Or maybe you do realize it. Maybe you are ready to make it come true. You might be. I think for every Scorpio, particularly under this very powerful new moon in Cancer, I think that you are getting ready to make your move, or getting ready to enlarge your life in some way, or getting ready to add others to your life, or getting ready to come home, not to your past, but to a better future. One that doesn't have so many problems in it. And Scorpio, you're going to make it. A long-held dream is destined for success. Now, I don't know if it's today, but I think you're a little closer to I think you're a little more ready to have it happen. So I don't see anything too much stopping you now, Scorpio. I think you just have to speak up and do it. There really is not anything holding you back. I don't even think a doubt of yours or a delay is necessarily holding you back, because you've lived through all that already. You know, if something came up as a repeat performance, just blow it off, because, you know, you don't need that in your future. And it's your future that is where the dream is. It's a cherished dream about your future for everyone. And it's destined to come true. Congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Sagittarius. Well, Sagittarius, yours is a mutable sign. And there's only 2 planets in a fire sign right now, but they both trine your sun. It's Venus and Mercury in Leo, and they're trining your sun. So that's good, Sagittarius. But we have to sort of, you know, measure the weights and balances in our lives right now, because it's good that Venus and Mercury are trining your sun. It can give you a lot of good ideas. Mercury is the planet of the mind, and you could be getting some very good news. I've just, if you don't have the good news yet, Sagittarius, it's still on its way. You're still going to get it. And it's really close to happening, if it hasn't happened already. But at the same time, because yours is a mutable sign, it's you that really has to be alert to health problems that you've been kidding yourself about. And really, you should go get a checkup. And if they give you a clean bill of health, fine, you don't have anything to worry about. But if they catch something that you didn't realize was getting to be a problem, that could save your life. And that's because Mars in Virgo is squaring your sun, and Saturn and Neptune in Pisces are also squaring your sun. And Mars and Saturn are in precise opposition. That means they're both at 6 degrees, and that means that the 6th degree in your sign, Sagittarius, and in Gemini, is really being challenged. If you have a planet at the 6th degree, you know, you are being challenged. But so you need to be careful of your health, and you also need to not kid yourself about some indulgence that you have participated in behind the scenes. You can't have it both ways, Sagittarius. So it's really, really important for you to decide if your dream is worth it, because if it is, then you've got to go the distance right toward it. And not let anything, not let poor health or poor health habits or social habits or moral habits hold you back. You know, just dump them. And this is a time when you can be challenged by your past. But you've got to remember that you've got a future, and that you could make a new beginning now. And it's almost like if you've been living in the shadows at all, for any reason, Sagittarius, that's over. And you've got to step into the light now. It's time. It's your time. And it'll be a good time for you. But you've got to leave the shadows behind and go straight for the light. And do your best, because your dream is worth it. And remember that our magic moments are coming from small pleasures. And there could be some of those in your life too, Sagittarius, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Capricorn. This is a time, Capricorn, when once again you're still benefiting from the fact that there is a grand trine in the earth signs. And that means that Pluto, which is retrograde in your sign, is being trined by Mars in Virgo and by Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. And the interesting thing about that is that Mars is a malefic planet and Uranus is a malefic planet. So they could get you in trouble, but they're both trining your sun, Capricorn. Either that means they're going to help you get out of trouble, or else, even if trouble was headed your way, it's not headed your way anymore. In other words, if something had been quite a challenge for you in the last year or year and a half, and it could be a financial challenge, it could be a health challenge, It could be some sort of investment problem, or it could be something that has to do with a retirement account of yours. Whatever it is, or a career choice of yours, you're just benefiting from being able to sort of get away from the problems and actually benefit from the problems because they're over. They're just over. And the reason they're over is because you're over them. You know, people never get over their problems if they keep hanging on to them. And after a while, okay, what if it was a health problem? Okay, and so what if you've done, you follow the doctor's orders, you get well, fine. But if you're still holding on to the fear that was associated with a problem, that's what's holding you back. It's just the fear of, oh gee, what does my future hold? I don't know. Well, why don't you let go of your fear and just realize you're on solid ground? And Grand Trine in Earth signs, and it happened last week too. You really have a much stronger foothold on life than you have had perhaps ever, Capricorn. And you're going to live a very long time. And so there's all kinds of new things that could happen. But they can't happen if you're holding on to fear. You got to let that go. Because you're the only one that's holding on to that. Nobody else is. And just head for tomorrow. Because I think you can afford it, Capricorn. And in life, our life is enriched by what we do, and what we think, and what we say. And when we're doing what we love, the love in our heart always shows. And other people see that. And so this is a time just to open up, Capricorn, and, go forward. But do what you love, because that will draw love to you, and that will make you happy. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Aquarius. This is a time, Aquarius, when once again there aren't any planets in the air signs, but for everybody there can be magic moments that derive from small pleasures that we have in our lives. The kind of small pleasures that just satisfy you and bring a smile to your face and sort of make you happy. And they could happen anytime at all, and they could happen any place. And so that could happen to you too, Aquarius. And it would be something that would make you happy because it's pointing toward your future, which is what your sign rules. And the reason why it's pointing toward your future is because Venus and Mercury are in Leo, and they are opposing your sun sign. And so trying to hang on to the past is a big challenge, and it's not going to do you any good at all, because it could be a past love. And, get over that, Aquarius. Just realize, tomorrow is going to be a better day. And then Jupiter and Uranus, which is your own ruler, are in Taurus, and they are squaring your sun. So you could have a few financial worries. Now, it doesn't mean you're broke, Aquarius. It just means that you may wonder how to match your energy level to your career ambition. Maybe it isn't a question anymore of you making money, but of what you do and how much meaning you get out of it, and whether your energy level can match your ambition. And okay, so that's something to think about. But, Pluto is about to come into your sign. I mean, this is summer, and it's not going to come until after the first of the year in 2024. But it's a very slow-moving planet. It's only 1 degree away from your sign right now. It's at 29 degrees of fate in Capricorn. And so, as soon as it makes a station and it's retrograde, but as soon as it makes a station and starts moving forward, it's coming right at you, Aquarius. And it's such a slow mover that it will be in your sign for decades, maybe for the rest of your life, sort of depending on what your age is. And in one way or another, you will be coming into your own power when Pluto comes into your sign. And the world has never seen Pluto in Aquarius before because it wasn't discovered until 1930. It's such a slow mover, we haven't been able to observe it in Aquarius before. But when it was in Capricorn, where it is now, during the almost 2 decades that it was in Capricorn, it was the era, remember it's a planet of power, it was the era of big business and big government. And there might be a lot of big governments and big businesses that are going to be a little bit surprised that that doesn't continue in the next 20 years. There could still be big businesses, but there'll be new businesses. They'll be ahead of their time. That will involve all the things that your sign represents, Capricorn. It represents music and invention and flight and space and satellites and the whole telecommunications field. I mean, we're going to sort of explode in about 2.5 years. Because it isn't just enough to have Pluto come into your sign, Aquarius. It's that by 2025, Uranus, your ruler, is going to go into Gemini and trine your Sun and Pluto for 7 years. And those are probably going to be the 7 happiest years of your life. And for many, many other people. It will be an age of wonderment. For the whole 7 years that Uranus is in Gemini, trining Pluto in your sign. So, you know, prepare for tomorrow, Aquarius. And this is a good time for you to just be thinking about things. And one thing you can be thinking about is what small pleasures can make you happy. Because if you went ahead and just enjoyed some small pleasures right now, they would create magic moments. And you would enjoy that. And it might inspire you to do new things because you're fully capable of doing it. Good ideas are not limited by age at all. People can have good ideas for as long as they live. And they come and go at different times. If you get a good one, Aquarius, I'd write it down if I were you. Who knows where that will lead. Okay, what does it mean to Pisces? Pisces. This is a time, Pisces. Well, remember I said that this is a more powerful new moon that we had on Monday than people realize. And that's why we need to take a real close look at what it was doing. And the sun and the new moon were at 25 degrees, which reduces to 7 the number of your sign, Pisces. And the moon rules Cancer, and they were trining Neptune in your sign at 28 degrees. Just almost a perfect trine. And they were trining Saturn as well. Neptune and Saturn are retrograde in your sign. But this powerful trine of 2 rulers in the water signs is an indication that for many people, including you, Pisces, a precious dream, despite doubts and delays. And there could still be some of those ahead of you, but who cares? It's destined for success, Pisces. It's not a question of when, it's a question of whether it happens ever, and it's going to. And I don't know what your most precious dream is. It might have been something you were dreaming about when you were a kid. It might have been something that has to do with other people that you know. But it's something that is worth everything you can give it, Pisces. And this is a time with Mars and Saturn, which is in your sign, directly opposing each other at the 6th degree today. And 6 is the number of Venus, and Venus rules partnership. And so it is a time when, if your precious dream involves any kind of a partnership in your future, you have to make sure that you're not kidding yourself or indulging in things behind the scenes that aren't good for you. Because just at the time when your precious dream is ready to fall right in your lap, if you're doing anything that is self-destructive, either morally or socially or regarding your health, that precious dream wouldn't be able to get to you. You have to be at your very best, Pisces. At the very best, Pisces are angels. And many times a Pisces will go through their life doing rather angelic things. And they do it without fanfare. They're not in it for the glory. They're in it because they're kind-hearted. And so every Pisces is born with the ability to be an angel. Because that's the kind of heart you have. So don't do anything to destroy that. Because that's why people that may be involved with your precious dream love you. Because of your good, kind heart. So don't hurt that. Because you'd be hurting the dream too. And your dream is worth doing your very best, Pisces. So try to live up to that. Just be the best that you can be. And the best would be an angel. Kind-hearted and quiet and loving. And somehow a Pisces is capable of performing miracles. Almost unseen, but they can do it. And miracles are ruled by your sign, Pisces. So your precious dream might turn out to be some sort of a miracle. Maybe you thought it would never happen. But this new moon says it's destined to succeed. So I'm just urging you, give it your best shot. Live up to your dream. And stay that way for the rest of your life, Pisces. It will make you very happy. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show on my Karen Campbell YouTube channel. And if you subscribe to it and tell your friends, then I'll be happy to send it to you every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. And you can read the blog on my website, STARBORNinstitute.org, because each week the blog explains the theme of each show a little bit better. So until next week, I'll see you, and thank you very much. Bye.